Well, looks like we back in this thing. Just Know Sports Show every Friday night, 8 p.m. Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your boogie on. With the sports talk and all that good jazz. Got Dr. Producer, Grade A, Juice Man, the Boogie, M. Greasy the Don, and Big E joining us back again in the studio. What's going down,
Yes,
fellas?
sir.
How's it going, man? Talk to me.
What's
Wow,
cracking, man?
good?
Y'all know
What's
what it
good?
is.
Happy to be on with y'all boys again.
Man,
For sure. So, at what point did you completely turn the game off Monday night and was just like, I'm going to do something else?
Turn it
Man,
off. My body clock turned off.
Yeah,
Say, go to
that was me
sleep. Go
too.
night night.
I can't lie. I don't think I saw the end of the first quarter, man.
hey, you know what? I'm gonna keep it real, man. I was as bad as it hurt me to have to root for the team to knock my team out. I had to root for the state of Texas, man. I'm always talking trash about how Texas is the best in football. We do it big in Texas, and we better than everybody else. I was hella ashamed and embarrassed, and I must say, somewhere I don't even know where in the second quarter, I was just keeping hope alive, peeking at my phone, checking, making sure it wasn't dust up, and somewhere in between the beginning of the second quarter and somewhere between the middle of the second quarter is when I said, "The hell with this, I'm done. I can't take it no more." I ain't know they scored 65 until the next day.
Well, I think it was. I think it was. I don't know. I had sent the thread. I was like, man, Georgia finna beat the brakes off these boys, man. It was just like the writing was on the wall, and I don't know. It just. I knew it was gonna happen, man.
When Kirby Smart came out there talking about we going hunting, I knew it was over. I ain't gonna lie. He said we going hunting. I was like, oh man, it's a bad look right now. Them horned frogs is out of there. You know what I'm saying? So you only got like less than a handful of squads. I mean, Tennessee would have got mollywopped by somebody out the Big 12 too. Big 12 is a competitive league. The problem is they're not known for having the recruits and the defensive structure that you find in the SEC. But they can compete. If you're a couple of players short recruit-wise on that defensive side, you're going to get lit up by a Big 12 team. So, I mean, TCU didn't show what Big 12 was all about when it came to the national championship, but they're going up against Georgia, and I think Georgia was going to mollywop whoever you got in front of them. I just wanted to go for the hometown. With me being in Texas, I wanted to go for TCU. But I knew it was going to take a hell of an effort from them to get it. I was trying to ride that pony. But at the end of the day, though, Georgia is the new statue. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you go back to back with Stetson Bennett as your quarterback, and he played lights out. I mean, I got to give it to you. Hands down. Kirby Smart can do whatever he want to do right now. If he wanted to go pro, he can go pro right now.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
I know somebody that's gonna lead the pro ranks. Well, they got fired. They might be headed to one of these schools.
You must be talking about Kingsbury.
Yeah, even though he stunk it up at Texas Tech, but still.
He did, but he was Johnny Manziel wouldn't have been Johnny Manziel without Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't think Kingsbury gonna go head back to college. I think Kingsbury probably headed to Houston, and because
I ain't gonna do him no good.
He started in Lubbock, I think, and then he get a run.
Well, the reports are Houston is interested in the New York Giants offensive coordinator or it's one of them.
Is he a brother?
Hell nah.
I was about to say if it was a brother, it was just to appease the Rooney Rule. But I think Kingsbury to Houston makes sense because they're going to draft a quarterback. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about that whole Kingsbury, but yeah, I like that.
Since we're talking about the Texans, since we're talking about them, and I'm about to denounce their ass. I'm about to be done with them. But
I'm a 49er for the next few weeks.
I don't think Bryce Young is a fit for Houston, even though they don't have the number one pick. I don't know what they're gonna do, but Bryce Young ain't it.
I think they probably gonna
if they're gonna go quarterback. I like Stroud. Sorry.
But has Young declared for the draft yet?
Yeah, Young and Will Anderson, they played their last game for Saban. I think Stroud makes more sense.
Way more sense.
I don't think.
Well, reports are.
I don't think Caleb Williams is. I don't think he too much. I don't think. Some's telling me he's not going to dig the whole Texas thing.
You're not sold on him.
Yeah, I'm not sold on. So I think they would go Stroud, and then they'll get Clint Kingsbury, a pretty good quarterback to start with, and he'll become an offensive genius just like Kellen Moore. And the brother gets thrown out. And I remember having this conversation last year. I was like, if I was a brother, there's no way in hell I would take that job in Houston. For what? Why?
Hey.
So they can fire you within 2 years and hire the next savior to come in like he's some offensive mastermind, and you didn't put in all the groundwork, and then you get all these high draft picks, and you make it to the playoffs, and you're gonna get labeled as a genius.
Well, I talked with Juice about this. When you try to duplicate what New England has done, whether it's Josh McDaniels or Bill O'Brien, since we're talking about the Texans, you setting that team back 3 years. And then, so here comes this black savior. It started with Romeo Crennel, 1 year. Carly, 1 year. Lovie Smith, 1 year. This is what happens when you try to follow that New England mold. Even Detroit had to get out of that with Matt Patricia. You can't do it. So I say that to say they're going to make another bonehead mistake. They're going to get Bryce Young because the reports are C.J. Stroud to Seattle.
Hey, I got another hypothetical for y'all.
Seattle?
Yes, Seattle. Even though Geno Smith is kind of long in the tooth at the end of the day. He's long in the tooth.
He
so you're not going to run too many more seasons out there with him.
But you gotta look at it like this: if they do draft Williams or Stroud, how long do you think they're going to sit there and wait? I look at that situation with Geno balling out the way he balled out this year. It's kind of like with Heineke for the Commanders, and even we can look recently at this Brock Purdy thing. Like, and you can go back to when Foles won the Super Bowl and they had Wentz. Like, why would you the team is obviously responding to Geno. The defense is young. You got Kenneth Walker, and you got a good running game. So the Legion of Boom could be very well on his way back. And you see they're responding to Geno. Why would you mess up their chemistry? Like, going into the offseason, the 49ers are going to have a decision to make. Like, seriously, I don't see any way Jimmy G coming back. And at the end of the day, as much as I want to see Trey Lance get a chance, like,
he ain't gonna get it now if they
he ain't gonna get it now. Like, Purdy showing what it is, and like Trey gonna have to come in and show that. Like, now it's got to be like blow him out the water out of the starter type thing, because the team has already won. What's it, 5-6 ball games in a row with Purdy? So you gotta look at that situation like, why would you bring in a rookie and the team's already responding with what you got? And sometimes it's best to leave well enough alone, roll with Geno. See if you can trade that pick and see what happens.
So you throwing in the towel on your boy Trey?
Look, bro, at the end of the day, they already won. They won 5-6 games. Now,
but see, I think that's not fair to Trey necessarily, though, because San Francisco is a system, right? You put Birdie on any other team. Garoppolo, he, other than his few starts in New England, he hadn't really improved anything other than what he showed in San Francisco, because that's the only place he's really had an opportunity to. And then you got Trey Lance, who's only been with that squad too. And but what Kyle Shanahan is showing you is the same thing he was trying to show y'all with Robert Griffin and Kirk Cousins. I can plug anybody in here, and we're gonna move this ball, and we're gonna score. Yeah, you did. That was a straight hater move right there. Straight hater move.
Go ahead, man. It's on you, Big E. This your squad.
So, yeah, this is my squad, and I'm the resident Dallas Cowboy fan of the group, I see. But when we start talking about where they at right now, I admit Dak is playing. He's throwing a bunch of interceptions. They pick sixes, but I will want to draw y'all attention to this. When you look at those pick sixes, who's the primary target on most of those pick sixes? Noah Brown, right? Noah Brown is not catching that ball. It's bouncing off of him, and most of the picks that you've seen have been tips, right?
Yep.
For the most part. So that leads me to think that defenses are recognizing this. Anytime that they target Noah, it's going to be a tip. He's not sure-handed. So the issue to me is, I think, who Dak is targeting. Now, if we want to get into he's throwing interceptions, he's creating turnovers, I'm going to look at it from this perspective as well, too. You talk about the thumb injury that he had that kept him out for 5 games, and everybody was over, right? Well, that same thumb injury is what ended Russell Wilson's career in Seattle and got him traded. And then you see the season that he had in Denver, right? That same thumb injury is what kept Aaron Rodgers, who was the MVP 2 years running, out of the playoffs, right? So when you think about Dak throwing a couple of interceptions per game or whatever, as long as the defense is ready to react and respond, then I have no problems with it, right? Because at the end of the day, I know if there's a quarterback that can make up for a turnover, it's Dak. Usually he's going to come right back and he's going to do it. Now, I'm not talking about that Washington game. I think they had checked out. They knew where they were at already. It was kind of that thing where they was like forced to go ahead and put the starters in and let them compete. Right. But then it just took a turn for the worse where you could tell that the team wasn't focused, and it ended up looking a lot worse than what it was.
Right.
But I don't think that's necessarily who Dallas is, what we saw against Washington. Is it a bad time to show that? Absolutely.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we know what this Dallas Cowboy team is, and they're still overachieving from what everybody's expectations were after they got rid of Amari Cooper. They let go of they went to Denver, Gregory, stuff like that. So I'm fine with where the Cowboys are at. And even if they did lose this game, I'm still okay with it. I don't think McCarthy should be on the hot seat. I don't think Dak should be under any pressure because there's a whole bunch of $30 and $40 million quarterbacks that's sitting at home right now and ain't even getting a shot to play. So when it comes to that, why should Dak be under that same pressure other than the fact that he plays for the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, they did the same thing to Tony Romo. So if you want to equate it to that's just the pressure of the position, so be it. But at the end of the day, the same way he ain't get rid of Tony Romo until he got a Dak, he ain't getting rid of Dak until he's got somebody that's going to replace Dak, and that's not Cooper Rush, or Cooper Rush would already be in the game. And then when you talk about McCarthy, I mean, everybody's clamoring for Sean Payton and all of this stuff. Yeah, what has Sean Payton really done outside of New Orleans? I haven't seen that yet. Not saying that he's not a great coach and he's got the ability to make something happen for him, but, Sean Payton is still about the same as what a McCarthy is. So at the end of the day, I don't see that being a hot seat situation. So I feel like the Cowboys really are going in with no pressure when it comes to playing the Buccaneers, other than the fact that they got to go up against Tom Brady, who's 7-0. I think that's going to be their inspirational move to really go ahead and show out. Could be wrong. At the end of the day, it's what you line up and do on Sundays and Mondays. So, but I'm going to take the Cowboys in this. I don't think that what we've seen from them from the Commanders game, and even if you want to throw in the Jacksonville game or whatever, that's not who they are. I think they're going to be prepared. They're going to come out to play. They get Van Der Esch back. That's going to shore up their defense. The only thing that I'm worried about is we still haven't found a corner outside of when Brown got hurt, and Tom Brady can exploit that. So I still think it'll be – I think they'll win it handedly, but I think Tom Brady's going to do what he does to make it interesting towards the end. So I'll take the Cowboys 33-28.
Okay. Good.
Sorry, I had to get on my Cowboy soliloquy, man. I've been just hearing so many people talk about, oh, this person's on the hot seat and that person's on the hot seat, and this, that, and the other, hating on Micah Parsons because he hadn't shown up the last couple of games. We're gonna see what it is. I mean, they could get out there on Monday and totally blow it, and it wouldn't surprise me if it happened. If that's the case, then you can bring up McCarthy didn't have these boys ready, but I think it was just that they went out in that game against Washington with the feeling of like, what is this game really for?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I was seeing too myself. I think the only two teams that really had something to play for in the NFC was the Eagles.
Yeah.
That was about it. San
And
Francisco,
the Lions, Packers, and Seahawks.
yeah, Lions
Those three.
Yeah.
in the top in the upper echelon. I think the Eagles didn't want to gaff up and cough up the number one seed. I think Dallas was just trying to get out of there. San Francisco, the way they're constructed and how we saw them make that run last year, I really didn't matter.
Yeah.
San Francisco, the way like I said, the way they built, they really don't matter. They take a defense anywhere. So yeah, I'm with you on that. And with the Michael Parsons slander, Michael Parsons has been dealing with a groin injury since week 7. No excuses, because he's not going to make no excuse. He ain't said nothing about it. But if you look at his numbers from weeks 1 through 7, it wasn't even close. He was running away with it. And then you can see kind of like whatever happened, and then Bosa then took that thing over. I got to go with Bosa right now. He doing that thing. And that'll slide us right on into the next game we want to talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about these 49ers and the Seahawks. Let's get it. Let's see what it do. Third time.
Hey, I'm gonna start this one off with a song.
It's a divisional matchup type thing.
It don't matter.
One thing concerns me about San Francisco. I like the way the team is constructed. The Shanahan system, we know what it do. We know what it does. The defense seems like it's on a pretty much historic pace. They're pretty much shutting everybody down outside of Kansas City. Nobody shut Kansas City down. That is what it is. Thing that concerns me about the 49ers is they won, 9-10 ball games in a row?
Ooh.
And
they've been lit.
Yeah, they've been lit. And they got healthy at the right time. They started off like 3-4, kind of like 3-5, kind of like, what's going on? It ain't Garoppolo. And then Garoppolo, they won a few games. And then Trent Williams got hurt. And then Bosa got hurt in the defense. But somehow they just kept winning.
13-4.
And then Garoppolo goes down, and then they beat Miami. And then they beat a couple of other teams. And boom, here we are. And one thing that concerns me about two things that concern me about this game is, number one, it's a divisional opponent. And historically, you want to stay away from that third time. They just seen you didn't see them, and it is what it is. And another thing is sometimes you just do for one. Sometimes you just going to go out there and have a bad game. And Purdy, nice story. I'm rooting for the guy. Different story was, like I said, we're going to talk about, as the off season comes along, after the season wraps up, we're going to figure out what it is, what the 49ers going to do going forward. But what if Purdy goes out there and have his first bad game? It could very well be one and done. Those two things that concern me about the 49ers, but just mano, team to team, line up. I don't see Seattle getting no more than 14, 17 points, and Shanahan got that offense rolling. If he can just play to his strengths and not try to get cute. One thing I do like about Purdy is Purdy going to get rid of the ball. He's not indecisive. That's one thing about it. He's going to take that lick, and he's going to get rid of it. I haven't seen him make too many of those, Jimmy bonehead interceptions. Most of his interceptions, he's under duress, and he's trying to get rid of the ball. He got a little Favre in him, a little Marino in him. But I do like his ability to get the ball to Kittle 25, 30 yards down the field, something Garoppolo could not do in his, 8th, 9th, 10th year? Come on, man. So I do like that. I like Elijah Mitchell coming back. That's extra depth for McCaffrey. McCaffrey tends to get nicked up. But people forget Elijah Mitchell went healthy last year. That dude put up 1,000 yards. What was it, 8, 9 touchdowns last year? So that's a lot of depth. The 49ers keep a lot of defensive linemen. That's one thing they got. And Debo's coming back. With all that being said, scary game. 49ers could be due for a stinker, but just logically, I'm going to say it like this. It wouldn't surprise me if Seattle beat them because of the aforementioned factors, but I'm going to go 49ers with this one, and I don't think it's close. I'm going to go 49ers 31, Seahawks 13.
Well, let me grab that thing. And start off with, y'all know how I do every playoffs. Because I'm riding with these Niners. I left my heart in San Francisco. High up on a hill, it calls to me. Man, look at here. Geno Smith, he going to be running for his life. Give me the 49ers. I'm going to go wild with this. Give me the 49ers 34. Give me the Seahawks 3.
Damn. Disrespect is real out there.
For real.
So you only giving the comeback player of the year 3 funky points?
I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to say it for another game we're going to do. As it says, all good things must come to an end.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to say this. 34-14, San Francisco.
Man, I mean, the Seahawks, they had a surprisingly good season this year. Geno Smith played probably his best ball of his career. However, it's playoff time, and I think, the 49ers have a better team all around. So I think the game will be a little bit closer, though. But I'm going to take the 49ers. Score is going to be 23-16.
That ain't close, Juice.
I mean, come on. It's respectable. I mean, come on.
I dig it, though. So did they get them points late in the fourth to make it look good? Or?
Late in the fourth. Yeah. Late in the fourth.
Yeah, I got San Francisco too, but I would love to see Geno pull off an upset, just because I feel like he's been a journeyman. Ever since old boy popped in and broke his jaw, he done dedicated some time to the game, and I'd like to see him get an opportunity to just make some noise and get his due as far as the check is concerned. But still, I take the 49ers. I think it's going to be 28-17, 49ers.
Hey, Big E.
Yes, sir.
The only way I would agree with Geno winning is if I knew that he would win the Super Bowl. If I knew deep down inside Seattle would win the Super Bowl, I would pull for Geno.
And nobody has mentioned the fact that Seattle has absolutely no playoff experience compared to the 49ers playoff experience. The 49ers were just in a NFC Championship game.
And they were in the Super Bowl the year before that.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So they definitely got the experience. That's hands down. I think sometimes though it's kind of the same thing like we were talking about with TCU a little bit. Ain't nobody expect for TCU to be where they ended up being at. So I'm just thinking that Seattle might have that same little mojo. Or I should say, if Seattle had that same little mojo, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I still think the 49ers are going to take it.
Okay. We got one more NFC game, Doc.
Well, with that being said, we're going to slide on to not the Packers. It's the Vikings and the Giants. Now, I don't have no real deep, real heavy message about the Vikings, but it took a 60-yard field goal to beat the Giants the last time that they played. Giants, they got a good defense. The young man from Oregon is looking like he's going to turn into something real, real nice out there. He is terrifying people
straight
from the defensive position. They got some holes they need to fill as far as secondary and run stuffing. Based on what I saw the last time these two teams played, which would send the Giants to Philadelphia if they pull this off, and Dallas, or the winner out of Dallas and Tampa would go to San Francisco, assuming San Francisco handle business. Vikings, I picked them to win the division. That's not a good thing. That is not a good ball club. I'm going to go Giants with the upset on this.
Who?
You know what, Doc?
I'm gonna go Giants with the upset on this one, and it really shouldn't be an upset because if you look at just the last few games, the Vikings, like we saw what Dallas did to them. We saw what the Lions did to them, and that's no shade at the Lions. But come on, man, let's not get carried away. It's still Detroit, but they beat the brakes off Minnesota.
Don't forget about the Colts game.
Yeah, and the Colts had them down 33-0 before the most monumental, epic collapse that I've seen. That was even worse than Houston '93 Buffalo. That was even worse than that one from what I've seen.
Yeah, worse than Atlanta in the Super
And
Bowl.
it's like again, like I said, it took a 60-yard field goal to pull that one off. With that being said, I'm gonna go Giants with the upset on this one. I'm gonna go Giants 26, and I'm gonna go Vikings 20. Because Kirk Cousins is still Kirk Cousins, and that defense is trash.
Now, I will say this: the Vikings showed a lot of resiliency during the Christmas weekend against the Colts. They were dead in the water, and the storm back like that. Well, not the Giants. I mean the Vikings. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. The Vikings. This Viking team, it is Jekyll and Hyde. But I said this in the previous matchup. All good things must come to an end. Good season by the rookie head coach and the Giants. They proved all doubters wrong. I even had them being a dumpster fire, a grease fire. But in this instance, all good things must come to an end. That offense is very stagnant, very stagnant. They need pieces around Barkley and Jones, and I think the Vikings gonna eat. I think they gonna eat out there in Minnesota. They gonna eat. Kirk Cousins is gonna put up about 300 on them. Dalvin Cook gonna run like a gorilla, unchained. Look at here. Give me the Vikings 41. Give me the Giants 10.
I won't jump that far off the ledge and say 41-10 because the reality is the Vikings have been playing very, very bad football, and they haven't been looking like the team that I picked to win the division. But nonetheless, FSU at running back, Dalvin Cook, pits on Kirk Cousins, go Vikings. I say Vikings by 10, man. It's gonna be a good game, man. But the Vikings will pull it out by 10. I don't think they'll score.
Yeah, this game is to me is a pick'em game. I mean, you got one quarterback that's a roller coaster in Kirk Cousins. A lot of highs and lows with his game. And then you got Daniel Jones, who's very limited. And my issue with the Giants is that they really don't have a lot of weapons around him. And so Justin Jefferson, to me, he's a difference maker. And if he's not going off, they can always give it to Dalvin Cook. So I'm going to go with the Vikings to win. I say in another close game, high-scoring game, 38-27 Vikings.
So I think the Vikings can be explosive, but I think I'm riding with the NFC East on this. And the reason being is because they've been the best conference all year, hands down, in the NFC. And I think they're just battle tested. I mean, they have to go up against each other twice. You know what I mean? So, and they played some, some of the outside conferences very tough in most of those games as well. So, I'm going to pick the upset here. I think the Giants are going to pull off the upset, and I think it's going to be rather low scoring. In the sense that that's how you're going to upset the Vikings is you're going to have to keep them under a certain amount of points. So I got the Vikings 24. I'm sorry, I got the Giants 24, Vikings 20.
That's a good pick, and that's a good point. That's a very good point. I didn't even, really even think about that. The NFC East had most competitive division, and they pretty much beat up on each other all year. I'm just not sold on Captain Kirk and them boys. Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, they get it done. Defense, Giants got a better defense. So,
But the following week, the Vikings will lose. It don't matter.
I'm gonna ride with that. Switch on over to the AFC, the American Football Conference. We all know about the situation with Damar Hamlin. For all intents and purposes, that young man was dead on the football field. 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And here it is. So he up and he went back to Buffalo, and I actually heard some doctors talking today. It's like they're not ruling out that he could come back to football. It's his choice. That's what it sounds like McDermott and the coaching staff are saying. Whether or not a team will pick him up, because that is a huge liability, that's neither here or there. And looking at the Dolphins, Tua not playing. That's 3 concussions. Lamar Jackson to Miami. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I think Buffalo's on. And me and Greasy talked about this when it was like one of the early games. I think it was like week 3 or week 4. I said, hey, man, You remember when Jim Kelly and Dan Marino used to go at it? Early in the season, Buffalo would go down to Miami, and Marino and them would beat them, and they'd be like, hey, this the year Miami, in the midst of Buffalo's four straight Super Bowls, be like, hey, Miami's going to Super Bowl this year. And here comes October, and here comes November, and they go up there in December, and they get the brakes beat off of them because it's cold and it's snowing. And then they turn right back around in 2 weeks, and they go back up there in late December and early January. This is when the Super Bowls were pretty much concluding, January 20th, 27th, somewhere around off in there. And they would get lambasted up there in that cold and in that snow. No Tua. Buffalo's going to be riding high. They're going to be hungry. Yeah, I think this one could get ugly. Now I'm gonna jump out on a limb. I'm gonna put some greasy numbers out there. I'm gonna go Buffalo 47.
You ain't
Miami 6. This will not be close, ladies and gentlemen. And Buffalo will move on. Miami was a nice story. I hope Tua's gonna have to make a decision. Like we saw the first concussion, he got up, he stumbled, he fell down. We saw the second concussion. That wasn't a good sight. We don't even got to get graphic and all that. But anytime stuff gets to locking up on you, neurologically something is off. And then the third one didn't even it wasn't a violent hit, but he just hit his head. And then they showed some analytics guy pulled up and was like, look. Before this play, Tua was 9 for 13. He was hitting like 75, 80% of his passes. He had a touchdown. He was looking real crisp, about 165, 175 yards. After that play, Tua was like 3 for 13 for 47 yards and like 3 interceptions. So with that being said, on the other side of the ball game, I hope Tua figures something out because I'm not a doctor, but it looks like 3 concussions in 1 year, and yeah. But I said all that to say it's gonna get out of control. Yeah, like Buffalo 47, Miami 6. That's what I got.
And I'm gonna piggyback off you, Doc. Miami's on their 3rd string quarterback. I mean, maybe it might be a Purdy, but I think this is the wrong time to show that it is. Buffalo, that was an emotional high game. That they'll be coming off of. The defense gonna get after Miami. They're gonna get after them, and I hate to say it, but I'm thinking like 35-10. It's maybe 17, but that's about it. Buffalo moving on. This is. I mean, you can't roll a 3rd string out there. There's too many injuries at the key position. It's just too much. It's too much.
3rd string out with no backup.
Yeah, with no backup. Now, maybe one of the receivers could play quarterback, but I'm not feeling Miami. Maybe if Tua was healthy or Bridgewater was healthy. If Bridgewater was healthy, I'll make the score tight. If Tua was playing, I might have flipped the Dolphins, but in this case, no. Give me Buffalo. That's all I got on that. Just give me the Bills.
Miami going to play with a little bit of heart. The score will be 56-14, Josh Allen.
Hold up, man. Y'all are tripping. 56-14. Oh, my God.
Man, the Dolphins don't have a chance, man. If Raheem Mostert, their running back, goes wild, that's the only way I see them even being in this game. But
I think
is he out?
not to cut you out. I think they said he broke his finger, and they said it's bad, so he might not even play.
Oh, okay. He's not even play. Okay. Well, yeah. Bill's got a
Get him
lot to
out
play
of
for. Bill's got a lot to play for. No Tua. It's going to be ugly. I say 41-13. Buffalo.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on that same Buffalo bandwagon when it comes to this, man. Plus, I think they're playing some just inspired ball all around, man, having what they went through on that Monday night game. So, give me Buffalo. I say 48-9.
Man.
It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all agree it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, I think we all agreeing that it's gonna get out of control. That game is what on? That's a Saturday game.
I don't care if they play tomorrow night. It don't matter.
It really don't matter.
That Saturday game is looking like light snow, but at any time that could turn into a torrential avalanche of snow.
It's
gonna be an avalanche of points.
Yeah, the avalanche of points. And the high.
That's the only thing that might keep it low scoring, to be honest with you.
Yep.
And the high that day in Buffalo is gonna be a balmy 24 degrees.
Lord,
and the low is gonna feel like 11, but you gotta remember we're in the South, so
what time is kickoff?
I'm not sure. What time does they kick off? I think that is that's a 3 o'clock game?
Yeah, I think it's an afternoon game.
I think it's an afternoon game.
So that game will go a little bit to the night, so it's gonna get even colder. Oh,
yeah.
Lord Jesus.
So
it's a Sunday 12 o'clock game.
Sunday 12 o'clock noon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So our 15 degrees is nothing compared to a Buffalo 15 degrees, but it's gonna be cold at any rate. So yeah, I think we all agree the Dolphins gonna pretty much get waxed in that game.
It's a wrap.
Let's take a look at the Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I gave back when the whole Trey Lance, Justin Fields thing was going on. I gave them sunshine down there in Jacksonville a lot.
Where that crow at?
I did. I gave him a lot of flack because at one point he was throwing just as many interceptions. I mean, he was just whistling his you know what off down there in Florida, throwing interceptions left and right, and nobody said anything about he can't play the position. Is he studying this playbook? All that stuff. Y'all know what I'm getting at. I don't have to spell it out. But somehow, and I think this is more on the incompetence of the coach hiring analysis and stuff like that, and offensive. I don't even know what this dude was. He was an special offensive assistant. Got moved to the offensive coordinator position, and Tennessee still not being able to do anything outside of Derrick Henry and the Texans just being the Texans. I think they're kind of like Tampa Bay. They won by default.
Yeah,
and here they are. They're in the playoffs.
Oh, wait.
But
you're not going to give that man his credit for playing better.
He played better.
Don't blame it. They won by default. He actually had to go out there and play.
No. They won by default because the division was so bad.
I mean, you still got to beat these. Hold on, wait, pause. Let me say this: the Texans might have a putrid record. That record stinks. But if we really break it down, they should have been 5-0 to start the season.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's not like the Texans just sucked.
I mean, if you look at most professional football games, there's probably like really 3 or 4 plays between a win and a loss.
That's true.
If you really look at a professional football game, I mean, you can look at some scores and be like, oh, well, that score was 31-13. They really didn't have a chance. But if you go back and look at the drop pass or the Jimmy G interception in the red zone and Kansas City took off, and it looked like the 49ers really didn't stand a chance, didn't play well against Kansas City. No, in all actuality, San Francisco had a chance to beat Kansas City in San Francisco. But Jimmy G threw the interception when all they had to do was kick a field goal. You got a tie ball game going into the second half. But he threw an interception. Mahomes scores. Boom, they up by 10. San Francisco never recovered. So I say that to say this. But if you look at it, I see what you're saying, King Dre. And those 4 or 5 plays could very well be the difference between a 4-12 team and a 10-6 team. Those 3 or 4 plays, those 5 or 6 ball games. So I get what you're saying. But Tennessee didn't handle business. They started, what was they, 7-4 at one point? You got to finish that.
They lost like 5 straight.
Yeah, you got to finish that.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 straight.
You got to finish that. And yeah, Trevor Lawrence, he did his thing. They're a couple of pieces away. I'm not ready to say that he's the best quarterback in that draft, but he got one up on his
Is he better than Justin Fields?
He got one up on his contemporaries.
Who is the contemporary?
Brandon Staley and the Chargers, yeah. You know, he getting off the airplane going for it on 4th down. So it wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to the Chargers needing a field goal to win the game and him going for it, and he go for it and they lose in Jacksonville, win the game. And he should be fired. I saw
upset Jacksonville.
I saw Stephen A. Smith say this today. Like, if the Chargers don't win a playoff game, he should be fired, and he should.
What time is that kickoff?
That's a night game in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a long trek across.
7:15.
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville beat them. And then Bosa, Big Bosa, he hurt. That's Joy. And the second, we know Keenan Allen, he's Chris Carter. He's the possession receiver. But Mike Williams was the Megatron, the Randy Moss stuff. We know Herbert going to do what Herbert do, and then you got Austin Eckler. So they got a lot of offensive weapons, but I think that Mike Williams loss is huge. I think Jacksonville going to be juiced, and I think those injuries going to bite them. I think those injuries that they suffered in that last game when they really didn't have too much to play for, and Brandon Staley got on there and he made this whole whatever, That dude is a bad coach, and I'm gonna say Jacksonville gonna get this thing done. They shouldn't. And San Diego has the better roster. San Diego has the better quarterback. They have the better receiving core. Name-wise, they got a better defense. It really hasn't materialized. I know they did lose Jackson in the corner. Mack has been fighting some injuries.
He nicked up.
Yeah, he's a shell of himself. It's not two-position all-pro left outside linebacker and defensive end, Khalil Mack. And then Bosa's out and Williams out. Man, give me Jacksonville 23. Give me the Chargers 20. And Brandon Staley should be fired. I'm going with the Jaguars with the upset on that one.
Get him out of here.
I agree with you, Doc.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
Get them out of here.
Because the Chargers, I do not trust that team. That's no. I mean,
agree. Totally
that's
agree.
A long trek down I-10 to catch an L. Jacksonville has been one of the hotter teams down the stretch. Coming from nowhere, even though the Titans, we talk about it. I talked about them every night on Rewind about that losing streak. And I said they better be careful. Jacksonville will catch. And that's what has happened. Trevor Lawrence is balling. Got Zay Jones out there, and I forgot the other receiver name because it is Jacksonville. They have a Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson. Staley, no experience. Herbert, no experience. So that's really no advantage. Keenan Allen, just a tidbit, maybe a little bit. Khalil Mack, we know what that is. Give me Jacksonville 20, Chargers 16.
Yeah, these two teams met back in week 3, and Trevor Lawrence had one of his better games. 3 touchdowns and no turnovers. I agree with you guys as far as the coaching. Brandon Staley, he just makes bonehead decisions with his team, and so I'm gonna go with Jacksonville as well. It'll be a close game, but I'm gonna say 28-24 Jacksonville.
All right, that makes sense.
I'll go next. So I ain't gonna lie, man. Jacksonville proved something to me when they beat my Cowboys, hanging in there like that.
When they beat who?
My Cowboys,
But that was on the
man.
tip pass.
Oh,
That was on the
That was on the tip pass to Noah
in
Brown.
overtime.
To Noah Brown. So
Yep.
same case I was making earlier. But it was not only that win against the Cowboys, but how they responded to games after that as well. So I think what it ultimately boiled down to, because at first I wasn't a believer in Jacksonville, but what it ultimately boiled down to me was Doug Peterson won with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, and he beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So for him to be able to have what they considered the best QB prospect since Andrew Luck to come into the league with Trevor Lawrence, and the way he responded in that game after he had all those turnovers and they still were able to hang in there with Dallas, to me, that's when I first, officially woke up and I was like, okay, Jacksonville's they're gonna win the AFC South and they're gonna make the playoffs, and they ain't gonna be able to make a little bit of noise. But there's too many good teams in the AFC for them to do a hard run. But I do pick them as a sleeper. If they were to upset a couple of people, that'll be the team that I pick to do the upset. But in this game here, I got Jacksonville, and I'm gonna go 28-20.
And I'm gonna go on record and say this is my last week pick of Jacksonville because next week they're getting their doors blown off. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not picking Jacksonville. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if they sneak another one.
You think? Oh, okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did. I'm not saying they will, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right on. And see, that's what I talked to Juice Man about. I'm not. The NFC is cut and dry. AFC, I don't care if it's Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincy. That thing is wide open.
Those three can win it easily. Any one of those three can win it easily.
Drake, King, what's going on?
I already told y'all. I'm picking Jacksonville. I mean, ain't nothing,
all right, well,
nothing
let's
to talk about. I'm rolling with the Jags and
what's your
just keep pushing, man. It's gonna be a close one though. Anywhere from 7-3. I'm picking an ugly game, like 21. I don't know, 21-24.
Jacksonville. Okay.
Yep.
All right, got Jacksonville, and here we go again. Baltimore's in it.
Muted, Doc.
Right, don't mute yourself. Well, let me go on and kick it off.
We got the Ravens. We got the Ravens and the Bengals, man. And the real question is, can the Ravens actually get over the hump and beat the Bengals?
Where the game at?
The AFC wildcard game is in Cincinnati.
What the hell?
Exactly.
So the question is, can the Ravens actually get over the hump? Is Lamar gonna even get it done?
No.
Lamar now.
What happens if he doesn't get it done?
He ain't even gonna play.
It's a question.
Yeah.
I think we may have seen the last of Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore Ravens uniform. They just
isn't he on IR, Doc?
He's got a chance to play.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play.
If he didn't practice today, though, they said if he didn't practice on Wednesday, they said he wasn't going to play. So
I don't think he's going to play. I think that's a power move, especially with what's going on with Tua down there in Miami, and especially with Baltimore breaking Roquan Smith off.
Doc, hold on, Doc. Before you get into your score, I want to elaborate on something. Didn't I say early in the season he's going to be the first quarterback to not get his money? Didn't I say that?
No, he's gonna get his money. It just won't be in Baltimore. He's gonna
get his money, but it ain't gonna be what he wants.
No, he's gonna get what he wants. It just ain't gonna be in Baltimore. If Tua is not able to play, Miami gonna break the bank to get him out there with Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
They ain't got. They don't have the money. They don't have the money.
They'll find it.
They gotta move some pieces. Yeah. They gotta move a lot.
But there's a few teams out there, even if it isn't Miami. I think it would be Miami. I think they're the number one spot for them.
When Lamar Jackson, when Lamar Jackson signed that check, you looking at $300 million. If Kirk Cousins got 200 and what was it, 52, 62? Jackson gonna get.
But I'm looking at Lamar.
Jackson gonna get 300.
Nah, Lamar. Okay, check the Ravens. We know what that is with Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
If you sign this guy to a $300 million contract, however millions guaranteed, he's still gonna be on the hook for 20 to 30 million a season. So basically, you're gonna cap strap your team. You're not gonna be able to put no pieces around him. Lamar needs pieces.
He already got pieces.
He's not a polished passer. He needs pieces. He needs pieces. So they're gonna really have to take that into consideration. Now, do we want him in Vegas? No. I know what that is. This is what happens when you have a quarterback who want to play backyard football. 1, 2, 3, everybody want to run around. That don't work. That doesn't work. You get nicked up, banged up, beat up. And that's what he's been in his career for the most part. But he's not going to get his money. He'll be lucky if he get $200 million.
No, you lost your mind. You finna get muted for that boneheaded take. That dude gonna get way more than $200 million. Do you realize $200 million? That's Chase Daniels money. They giving dudes.
That's what he's getting. He's not worth it.
They giving dudes that never get on the field $200 million. That's the
which team.
He's gonna get $50 million off a franchise tag.
They gave Deshaun Watson $274 million, and we know
Deshaun Watson is better than Lamar Jackson.
Damn sure is.
We all know that.
Yeah, but Deshaun Watson.
Lamar Jackson.
But Deshaun Watson ain't played. He got a lot to prove. And Deshaun Watson got a lot to prove. That's neither here nor there.
But check this out. Which team gonna get that to him? Because there aren't too many teams that need a quarterback.
Miami need one.
Miami need a quarterback.
The Colts need a quarterback.
Colts, New Orleans. There's a few teams out there.
Okay, and do y'all think? Well, y'all know what? Y'all may be right, but in the same sense, if you go to any one of them teams y'all name, other than Miami, that career
none of them teams going to Super Bowl.
They ain't even making the playoffs. They're not even making the playoffs.
He can go to the Jets and win. No, he can go to the Jets and win.
They got a good defense out there in New York.
Yeah.
I don't think Lamar's a New York guy. He just don't strike me that kind of way.
Miami is home to him, so that's why I'm going to Miami. He'd be a good fit in New Orleans though, because he's from the South. So.
Yeah, I'm seeing him hanging around somewhere, Florida,
Atlanta too. You can't forget about Atlanta.
Atlanta, they got a young and upcoming receiver. They got Kyle Pitts. The defense is playing a little bit better. But to the game, yeah. Baltimore, they messed around and they started off. They tricked out the game against Buffalo. They tricked out the game against the Giants. They tricked out the game against the Jets. They just lost a whole bunch of games that they should have won, and they should have a way better record. I think it's a power play. I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to touch the field this weekend, and I think we've seen the last of Lamar Jackson in the Ravens uniform. I did pick them in our preview show to go to the Super Bowl. I had them beating Buffalo in the AFC Championship just because he's a dual threat quarterback. But with that being said, that's all out the window, knowing what happened and what went down. Yeah, Joey B and the Bengals, they're playing good ball. They're playing the best ball right now. Here's the thing about Cincinnati. They are not intimidated by Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, not one bit. They beat them now 3 times in a row. So with that mentality, they don't care. And I think they want to play Buffalo again due to the tragedy that happened. They want to see what was what. They had a 7-3 lead, caused a lot of confusion and heartbreak in fantasy football land, but that's neither here nor there either. To the game score, Roquan Smith has made a difference on the Baltimore defense. This is a AFC black and blue division rivalry. These two teams really don't like each other. But for the most part, Cincinnati been kicking Baltimore. You know what? With no Lamar Jackson and a third string quarterback, yeah, this has the potential to get out of control and get ugly. And it makes
don't do it.
And it makes a statement. And this is good for Lamar Jackson. Power play, Jackson to Miami. But yeah, I think Cincinnati gets this one done, and I think they get it done big. I'm picking Cincinnati 34, Baltimore 13. They're gonna stomp them. They're gonna stomp them.
I agree with. You want to get a juice or?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I agree with you, Doc. But I will say this: I didn't pick Cincy to make this type of run. I thought they would have the Super Bowl hangover.
Me too.
But they turned it around. They are the class of the AFC North, followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry. Followed by the Steelers. I'm going to throw that in there. I told y'all Tomlinson would not have a losing season, and he didn't. But anyway, let's get back to Cincy. With Jamar, they basically have three bona fide number one receivers with Higgins, Chase, and Boyd. They can go anywhere else to be number ones. This is the issue with this. That's a hard cover. That's a hard cover for any defense. And Burrow, hey, go Tigers. Jamar Chase, go Tigers. Hubbard out there doing his thing, just wrecking havoc on quarterbacks. Love it, love it. Baltimore, Andrews, that's about it out there in regards to Lamar getting the money. Your handicap team, but maybe Huntley can go out there and muster up some points, but I don't think it's enough. This team been backpedaling, eking out wins all season long, and I live by this statement. The things you get away with in the beginning is going to be your demise in the end. Give me the Bengals, 24. Give me the Ravens, 13.
Yeah, man. I think what's frustrating about the Ravens is that their offense is just so inconsistent. It's either Lamar Jackson or bust, and if it's not him, it's Mark Andrews or bust. Like we've been waiting for somebody in that receiver group to step up, and it just hasn't panned out. And as far as the Bengals, I mean, yeah, they're playing really good football at the right time. Joe Burrow is unfazed. I mean, he's just cool, calm, and collective all the time. And even though the Ravens defense has improved with Raekwon Smith, I don't think they just don't have enough. The Bengals are too much. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Bengals as well. I'm going to say 28-14 Bengals.
24-7 Bengals.
Dang. I guess we rolling with the AFC. Everybody got the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going Bengals all the way. I think it's going to be like 38-10.
God damn, E.
Hey, I'm going to tell you why, though, because that's my high school classmate out there coaching the receivers, man. So he got
got Troy.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah, so you know what it is. So, yeah, I got them 38-10, man. They're going to ball out.
Hey, he don't have to work too hard with that receiving class group he got. He ain't got to work too hard.
For real.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Man, so it looks like that's going to take us on up out of here, man. And we'll be back next week. We're going to talk a little NBA basketball this time. It's time. Football season is college football season is over, and as the amount of content we can cover in football kind of dwindles, unless breaking stories happen all the time, stuff like that. When we stay aware, but as the season progresses, I think we're down to 4 games next week, and then the conference championships, and then the Super Bowl. We ain't talking about the Pro Bowl. Nobody cares. But we're gonna talk a little.
No Bowl.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little NBA.
7-on-7.
We're gonna talk a little NBA. Get the juices flowing, and I'm gonna bring up some points about college basketball and what I see so far. But we're gonna slide on up out of here, man, and y'all be safe out there. Again, this is Just North Sports Show. Y'all know where to catch us. Slide on over to the YouTube channel. Follow us on the IG. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't be sitting over there sour-faced and all that. Go and show some love. Y'all know who we talking about. But anyways, it's Doc, the producer, Dre Day, Coach Dre, Juice Man the Boogie with the highlights. Big E slime back in. Be on the lookout. Me and Big E gonna drop something, man, called Game Heavy. We gonna jump into this basketball thing real proper. Like we're gonna give it a little bit of the. I'm seeing and I'm thinking of Rucker Park, just the essence of the game.